When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Skims or Allbirds, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and great marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling and for shoppers buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. It's home of Shop Pay, the #1 checkout in the world. You can use it to boost conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going through to checkout. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Allbirds uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/income, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/income to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/income.
The internet gives us a glimpse into the crazy happening all around us. Unhinged behavior, personal secrets, unbelievable coincidences. It's all one big circus, and the RR Show is your front row seat. Each week, we curate the wildest Reddit stories just for you. Whether you're into hilarious accidents, insane relationship drama, or pure chaos, these insane confessions are sure to make your jaw drop. Listen to the RR Show weekly on Mondays via your favorite podcast platform, or get your episodes early and ad-free by becoming a member. The RR Show. All of the drama, none of the hassle.
Well, hello, and welcome to Riffs on Riffs, where it is a beautiful top of the morning to you, Toby. It's Sunday. On Sunday, I always bust out my bookmarks are for quitters mug because it feels like the right thing to do on a Sunday. And, it's another day where I woke up and I was like, I didn't drop dead last night. So
blessed.
Blessed. That's it. So with that in mind, I thought, what a perfect way to get into today's song and artist. Do you want to tell them what we're doing today, Tobe?
We are going to be discussing Olivia Rodrigo's hit single, Drop Dead, from her latest album. She's an interesting artist to me. If you've heard her interviews, and seen her performances, she is a person that you can just tell, like, she's in it. She's in the music. She's most definitely in it. So, she's got a new album out here called You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. And I love the fact that she's one of those artists. I think that she literally does not care what anybody else thinks. At least she gives me that impression. Like, I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's that. So you gotta love that.
Have you listened to the album?
I have not.
Okay.
Listened to the album.
I did a couple of run through, and man, this album hits you. And I think if I were to describe the way that her music lands, it's visceral. The lyrics are, they're authentic, they're vulnerable, they make you feel stuff. Like, I was in my feels this morning listening to some of these tracks, and I was like, Olivia, what are you doing to me? And then, of course, I had a conversation with my daughter, who's pretty much the exact same. In fact, she was so sad because my daughter's currently in New York, and she's working at this restaurant. And apparently the video for, I think this song was filmed outside of that restaurant. Oh. And she was like, I wasn't there. For the one day I wasn't working. So she was real sad about that. But
if she's working today, they're about to be busy with all the New York Knicks celebrating
oh my goodness.
And what have you. She's about to be busy. Hang in there, Maya. Hang in there.
Right? And then so of course, she's loving this album. It's her favorite right now. And so she's just telling me all the things. And I was like, okay, how does this land for us as men of a certain age? Mm-hmm. And I think this is the beauty of so many things, like the connection of past and present and pop music. Like, the themes are always universal. So even though we're a couple of guys that are, are we past our prime yet, Tobe? Say it ain't so.
We're in our prime, sir. We are in our prime. Always.
It's no matter what. No matter what. I'm trying to think if I'm not a prime number right now. Dang it. But regardless, whether it's I'm of the age of Olivia, and I can hear this music, and I can, like, I'm experiencing these now, maybe for the first time, and it's like, you're really capturing what I'm going through. Or for people like us, you're like, oh yeah, that takes me back to a time, a place, a moment in my life, a memory where I can feel it. You just get transported, and it's like, that's the universal beauty of a writer like Olivia, I think, where no matter where you are, you can connect to it.
Exactly. I totally agree. I mean, listening to this has kind of reminded me to like the first time of watching some of these old movies, like, you know, whether it's Adventures in Babysitting.
My goodness, that's a pull right there.
It is a pull. It is a pull. But, you know, that movie was what, you know, obviously there's a love interest in there. Of course, this woman, the babysitter, is way out of the realm of the kid, but he still has a huge crush,
sure,
you know, on her. Right. And you know, watching it just kind of reminds you of when you had a huge crush on someone in school or in one of your classes or whatever the case may be. And so I think the talented artist can transport you to that time. And Olivia is definitely of that talent. I mean, she can write. So I would say this, the first verse definitely took me there. The second verse, I couldn't stand. I don't like it.
Tell me why.
Like it. I just felt like it was, I just would have wanted more singing. I really just don't like the singing, rapping thing on this track. I just don't like it. It felt like, if I close my eyes, I can see Madonna in Vogue and sing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I never really was a huge fan of all that. The first verse I enjoy. I think it's cool. I like the musical elements. She doesn't have a voice that's like super duper powerful, but she has a way of the words cutting through, like the quality of her lyrics. And, you know, she does have a good voice, you know, obviously that cutting through. So she doesn't have to necessarily belt it for you to feel it. You know, so if that makes sense.
Yeah. I think like if we, you know, you look at the I don't know, there's tons of people that can belt it. And then there's people who are a little more ethereal. Like I would put even Olivia kind of in that, you know, that purity, that sort of floating. And I feel like Olivia kind of splits the middle there, because she kind of can float up there, but it doesn't ever get light and airy. It still carries the weight and maybe the gravitas of the words that she's trying to convey. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about like how, I don't know, but the way there's something about her voice that sucks you in, that feels accessible, I think. Sometimes when you hear a singer and you're like, they're performing, they are like showing off their chops, and it doesn't mean you don't feel the emotion, but it's clear that there's a technical skill that's being evoked. And not that Olivia doesn't have technical skill, but it's like hers is more like you're just hanging out with your best friend who happens to have a great voice. Like my boy Toby.
Well, here we go. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you for the kind words. I want to remind you that I think, you know, she's been acting since she was 12.
Yeah.
And I feel like that there are things that you can do with your voice to communicate emotion that she does very, very well. And there are other actresses that have, you know, that also sing, that do a good job with that. I think, you know, Ariana does a good job with that as well. You know, she is so in control of her voice and the vocal quality. You know, Olivia has a way, whenever I listen to her music, it literally feels like she's talking directly to you. Like she's sitting right next to you.
Exactly. Yes.
And like talking directly to you. Like there's no audience. It's just you. And it's like, well, you know, it just makes me want to answer some of her songs. Like, Olivia, I don't know why the first trip you would take with your driver's license is to go over to that dude's house. You know what you're going to see? It ain't nothing good, girl. Just keep driving. What are we doing? There's so many other things that we could do. Let's go to Starbucks. Let's go to Starbucks. Let's not do that.
That's hardly a celebration. What are we,
what are we talking about? What are we doing? You know? But it definitely feels like she's talking directly to you. It's, she's got that vocal quality.
I'm going to go a step further. I'm going to say, like, she sounds like the voice in your head.
So
it's like the inner monologue. So yes, in some songs you're like, she's talking to you and we're having a combo and you want to be like, girl, don't. And then others, you're like, that's the voice in my head, and I can feel those things, and it's like your subconscious, like that, just sort of playing a soundtrack in your mind. So I think that's the beauty of it. And I don't want to linger on this, but I think the contrast, because we did Drake the last episode, and part of it is, I think, in that vocal delivery, right? It's just more accessible. And maybe that's part of my issue with Drake, is that I can't feel like I'm connecting to it, because musically it's disconnected from a human experience, just with some of the effects and the autotune and all of that. Lyrically, I can't relate to it because I don't live Drake's life. And so it's more of watching an artist from afar and maybe like feeling some corollary, whatever, versus, hey, I'm in this experience with you as an artist and I can feel connected to it.
Interestingly enough, Drake was also an actor before going into music. And I feel that his whole performance, a lot of his music is performative, but I do think that he is a pretty effective communicator, because I think that what he's done, he knows that women buy music. So he's trying to appeal to as many women as possible. The dudes who want to get with women, he's also appealed to them because they can play his music and get women. That's kind of the instrument, if you will. So it is intentional. It is strategic. It doesn't always work. You being case in point.
Works for a lot of people.
Well, yeah, true. But Olivia, I think that she definitely has, she's only 23, which is crazy to me that she's accomplished this much. And I think that's part of the problem why I'm not like super into her. Like, I like her music. I like her lyrics. I mean, I want to say it was Sour. I think I listened to that album all the way through. And I was like, man, she can write. My God, she is such a good writer.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the day and age, or maybe it's just the shows that I've been watching, but every time I literally put like 3 of her songs together and I'm like, man, I could write an entire horror film based on her songs. Like,
horror film?
Yep. Her songs are retcon bait for like a stalker film. They are completely, if you listen to them, it's like even this song here, Drop Dead, that's the beginning. Then you go to Driver's License, right? Or no, then you go to Traitor, right? That would be the song. You go to Traitor, then like, hey, you stopped dating me, and then 2 weeks later you were dating her, or maybe it's Deja Vu, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
But all of those songs, you could string them all together and tell in a complete story of how this person was infatuated with you and then turned into a stalker.
Turned into a stalker.
And there are songs.
Attraction.
There are happy songs out there, joyful songs that they've now turned into being these haunting type of melodies for horror films. And I just couldn't help but to think about that when listening to her song. I'm like, yeah, I could totally.
Well, even that's hilarious, and you're right. But even the kind of wordplay she does, because Drop Dead, you're thinking, oh, this is a breakup song, this is a whatever, and then it's like, no, she totally flipped the script, which is clever.
It kind of reminds me of that one, the new movie out that's right now, Obsession.
Yeah.
This would be perfect for Obsession. This would be perfect for that. Have you heard the premise of that?
Nope. Regale me.
Okay.
I can guess, I think.
And I apologize as I interrupted you. So
no, you're good.
So in this movie, this kid, I don't know if he's he's got to be college or like early college years or something like that. And he just really wants to date this woman. And he's got this thing that he can make a wish. And he makes a wish. And once you make the wish, you can't get it taken back, right? You can't take the wish back. He wishes that this woman would love him more than anything else on this planet.
No, my friend.
And it goes horribly wrong. Horribly wrong, right? But it kind of reminded me of one of those, like, this song would fit. This song would fit perfectly in that.
Yeah. Well, and I love the arc of the album. Well, but I mean, it was intentional, and I haven't. This might be when I buy the vinyl, but because there's a side A and there's a side B. It's the initial phases, all of the loveliness that happens early in relationships, and then poop, down we get, way down we go. And then ending, the way, what was it? Cigarettes, coffee. I can't remember the name of that last track, but yeah. And then you hear a song like Less. Whoo, like it just, the way she inverts those lyrics, like of, I wish you loved me less because it means you wouldn't be leaving. I love you so much, I'm out, right? And she's like, nah, I wish you just loved me less then, because I'm not. And it's just like, oh, what a, yeah, it just gets you thinking about stuff and how in relationships, how much we're willing to sacrifice ourselves, because we're so desperate to hold on to that connection we have with somebody else. So,
yeah.
I mean, not that either of us have ever done that ever. I've heard it said.
I've heard it been said. Right. I've had friends who have. Yeah. It is. In that part, I think that's one of the reasons why she has as many fans as she does. Right. I mean, like each of her albums is like debuted in top. The top.
I think this
100.
one was 80 million. I think it's the highest debut for a female solo artist ever.
Yeah, I mean that's that's just crazy. That's just insane. But she connects that well. She is definitely of the Taylor Swift school of writing, I feel. I mean, she's acknowledged that Taylor Swift is definitely one of her influences, right? Along with Lorde, and but she's named a bunch of other artists that she likes as well, and you can definitely tell, like, yeah, that fits. She connects very, very well. So
I think speaking of that, the connection to Robert Smith, right? So she named drops, was it? Just Like Heaven in this song. And then she has, I guess her and Robert did Glastonbury and they covered a couple Cure songs, whatever. And so they ended up doing that. If you listen to the song that they do together on this album sounds to me like a Cure song. I love it. It's great. But it's fascinating to me, like, how does an artist like Olivia, who grew up a fan, said that Robert, was one of her favorite artists coming out of the UK and one of the most talented, whatever. But it's like, there's such an age gap and generational, I mean, we're, 40 years. I just wonder, how does that connection even happen? And is it like, I'm a fan and now I've got some sauce behind me. And so my agent reaches out to your agent and says, do you want to work together on something? Like, I just don't know how. That's fascinating to me. And I think I wish more artists did that. And I'm not saying that he has any sort of mentorship role. I have no idea, but that opportunity when you reach a certain level to be able to reach out to your own influences and say, I'd love to collaborate with you, or let's just get together and do a track, whatever. Like, I think there's so much more opportunity for that to happen. And what you see with this is she releases this, all of a sudden, Just Like Heaven, starts to blow up on the internet again. And so the Cure gets a boost, Robert gets a boost, she gets the juice from the collaboration, and we kind of keep rolling from there. So did you ever listen to the Cure back in the day? Did you ever go through a goth phase, Tobe?
I did go through a time where I really appreciated it, because I had some friends in high school that loved it.
Yeah.
So one friend in particular, so that when I was driving or riding in his car, what was getting played. So that is that. So it was a lot of Depeche Mode during that time, and just other stuff. And I liked a lot of that stuff. I think the musicality was pretty cool, and it definitely spoke to like the teenager type
the
feel
angst.
And emotions.
The angst.
And really, if you look at it, I think that goth phase, I think it just morphed. I mean, obviously there's, hip hop kind of, touches upon like that teenage angst. And then you have like groups like Pearl Jam, that whole grunge period. They definitely, capitalize on that.
And now it's alternative was what they call it, right?
Yeah.
But I think it all kind of originated there.
Yep. It's all there. Teenagers having the freedom to just speak what's on their mind and what's in their heart, which is cool, which is great.
It just reminds me of that song from My Chemical Romance, Teenagers. It's spoken like somebody of our age, like teenagers scared the living blank out of me. It's such a great chorus, but it's like the opposite side of that teen angst. So of course we've got to talk about production on this. And Tobe, if you're going to pick a female songwriter who's writing pop hits and shows up on literally every song everywhere, who would you say? It's a name we've mentioned on the show before.
Oh, is it? Are we talking about Amy again?
Yeah, more Amy Allen. And Dan Nigro, who has been her producer for a while. He's done tons of stuff. So I know Olivia writes a lot of her stuff, but
sure,
you put her in a room with Amy and, we're done.
Voila.
Voila.
Yeah.
And speaking of which, the video in Versailles, so that's kind of fun if we're going to get all Frenchy.
Yeah. I mean, Amy is she's like the songwriter whisperer, I feel like right now. I mean,
and what a great gig. What a great gig. Behind the scenes, sticking around in the studio, hanging out, making great music with great artists and not having to do, like, would anybody recognize Amy Allen on the street?
No.
It's perfect.
It wouldn't. I mean, it is perfect. Only people in the know would recognize. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It is a great gig. It is a fantastic gig. And I think she is going to, the music that she's helped create and, all the emotions that she's able to foster and create with her words. And she's aiming at immortality at this very moment, just from her work alone. She's put a lot of work and everything that she touches seemingly is just turned to gold. It seems like, I mean, she's not really striking out at all. It seems like she's really just hit after hit after hit. She knows exactly, what words to say and how to tap into all of that emotion. So,
well, she did, I think, 6 versions of this track, acoustic version, a remix, whatever.
Okay.
So, there's that whole marketing push. There is such a calculated release to any of these now, which certainly helps. But then when you can back it up with good songwriting, it's like, perfect.
Well, when you've got good material, you can certainly come up with all of that, Like who wants to hear an acoustic version of a terrible song? Like, no, this is...
I go to a lot of coffee shops to hear that, Toby.
Right. Like, in fact, I think I need the drums to kind of, drum this out so I can drown out the lyrics. The song is that bad. Yeah. Interesting.
So, have you ever, I'm curious if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever been in a spot where you thought people or somebody would recognize you or remember you, and then they just kind of had no idea who you are?
Yeah, I've definitely had that. It's very oddly specific reference there, Joe. Tell us, let us know what happened to you recently like this.
Well, it wasn't me. It was actually Olivia.
Okay.
So apparently, again, I heard this from my daughter, so this is anecdotal story. But apparently Olivia was like walking down the street, New York or something, who knows, and she sees a girl wearing her t-shirt, like her concert t-shirt or something. And she's like, God. I'm gonna give this girl, like, I'm just gonna walk over and be like, hey, So she walks over and she's like, hey, and this girl's like, what? Hey, okay, and like walks away and thinks like this freakazoid is approaching.
Oof.
You just wonder if that girl's like 5 minutes later, it's like, uh-oh.
Oh, is right. Uh-oh is right.
But then Olivia's like, that's pretty humbling.
That is crazy. You wearing the shirt. But you know what, though? Sometimes, I mean, isn't it the term, right, for persons like out of the context of like what they normally are in? Like, instead of being on stage in front of a microphone, you just see this person at the laundromat and you're like, what? Like, no, that's whatever,
It can't be, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I would definitely be that person. I could see somebody and be like, like, who's that? Huh? Who are you? Oh, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. And
what'd you say your name again was?
last name? Yeah, I can totally see that happening.
I am not I think you were with me on this, Toby. We are not fans of the New York Knicks at all. So this has been especially painful. But I got Maggie Rogers' latest newsletter, and she's a huge Knicks fan. In fact, she was going through her whole ritual of how she felt like she cursed the Knicks, and then has been doing for a while this ritual to uncurse the Knicks, which I think is hilarious. But then she showed a picture of like her at a watch party, and I'm like, I guess you can kind of do that in New York. Maybe people would recognize that's Maggie, maybe they don't, whatever. But just the fact that she's able to go out in the crowd and do those things, and it's like, you wonder how often you can just sort of sneak under the radar. To your point, if you're not done up in the performance way, then, and I wonder if that's why people like Lady Gaga would earlier in their career went so over the top. Sure, there's the performance aspect, but when you take the stuff off, are you going to recognize Stephanie out on the street necessarily if she's just got a hat on and some shades?
Steph. Yeah, it's just Steph. What are you talking about? It's just Steph. I mean, I think it's weird she's wearing shades inside, but maybe maybe she has a migraine. Who knows? Who knows what's going on with that? She wants everything dark. Who knows? Yeah, I think there certainly are artists that can get away with that. If they're not wearing, not wearing shades and wearing a ball cap. I think there's a huge difference between people, if they're wearing makeup and they're not wearing makeup when you get seen out in public. I mean, it's a whole thing.
I hate when I'm caught out in public without makeup. It's just people.
I keep mine with me. I don't know about
smart.
you.
See? That's smart. That's smart. In your little fanny pack?
Well, that's where I draw the line. I draw the line. I draw the line there, for sure. So, that's cool. That's the one thing about New York that also plays into it. Like, it's not like Cleveland or Detroit. New York, you almost go to these places and you expect to see someone out there, and they're just so used to it, seeing people out in the wild. You might have actually had a couple people that be like, "Yo, that's Maggie. Oh, cool. All right, what's up?" That kind of thing. It's New York. It's just a different type of vibe. I'll never forget when I was in New York. Literally, one of this MC. Wait, he used to work with KRS-One, and I think his name was.
It's so fun. This is so bizarre. So I pulled up behind a car yesterday. Somebody I know, their son's car, and the license plate was KRS-One whatever, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's so cool! He's got a KRS-One license plate." And she was like,
right.
"Who's KRS-One?" And I was like, you know KRS-One. And I pulled up.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's crazy. Like out of nowhere, you're just about to drop a KRS-One reference. I feel like there's something like, okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead. It was just random. I was like, what is happening in the universe right now?
It is completely random. Well, I didn't meet KRS-One, but I did meet one of the artists that he was working with.
Okay.
And I see that guy walk down the street. I was like, "Yo, are you?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's me." I said, "Dope, man. I really appreciate your music. Appreciate what y'all doing, man. Keep doing your thing." And he's like, "Oh, man, thank you." I mean, this dude wasn't big time. But to get recognized on the street, I bet that dude was just getting ready to go to work himself.
Yeah, right.
Or about ready to go or going to the studio, one of the two. And just to see people out in the street. And that's just New York. I think if you're walking down the street, you're going to see some of everyone. So,
yep. I think New York, LA is the same way. You walk
LA is definitely the same way, for sure. Yeah. LA is definitely. I ever tell you about that time? So Kaj and I, my wife and I, we went to an Airbnb. We went to one in Columbus. They're visiting some family. So we're there and we go to this nice Airbnb. It's probably like 20 minutes away from where my in-laws live. And so we're chilling there. We're eating breakfast. And lo and behold, there's this woman and her husband that are sitting at the next table over. And I'm like, she reminds me of someone. I just can't figure it out, but whatever. Very pretty girl. And her husband was talking about how he's in business. I think we had like a short conversation like the day before or whatever. Saw him in passing. Hey, how you doing? We're going to sit over here. You guys sit over there. All right, enjoy your meal. And then Kajal's like, I know where we've seen her. And I was like, where? And there's that movie, I want to say it's Taken. The daughter in Taken that was her. Which was, okay. I'm like, oh my God. And I think what it was, I think Kaj was talking, or Kaj overheard them talking and was like, she was glad that they're hanging this Airbnb where people probably wouldn't recognize her and mess up the time. And I was like, well, we won't be saying anything more to that couple. We're going we're going to leave them alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that it's interesting who you see out, and that, I just thought it was an interesting story.
So I apparently am a danger to celebrities. So I had an encounter once where I almost squashed somebody. This episode of Riffs on Riffs is brought to you by DistroKid, your ultimate partner for taking your music to the next level.
With DistroKid, uploading your songs or albums to online stores and streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music is easier than ever. Plus, you can easily pay your collaborators with splits and send large files securely to anyone with Instant Share.
And guess what else? You can get a YouTube official artist channel for free via DistroKid. You can send credits to stores, and you can use Hyperfollow to promote your release.
DistroKid has everything you need to succeed in the digital music landscape.
But that's not all. DistroKid now offers a convenient mobile experience with the DistroKid app, available on iOS and Android.
With the app, you can manage your releases, track your streaming stats, and even withdraw your earnings, all from the palm of your hand. And for the artists looking to perfect their sound, there's Mixia. With Mixia, you can put the finishing touches on your tracks in minutes, ensuring they sound polished and professional every time.
And if you need to share large files securely with collaborators, producers, or playlist curators, look no further than Instant Share. It's free to send up to 1 gigabyte of files, and your music will stream at the highest quality, making the best impression possible.
So why wait? Elevate your music career today with DistroKid and unlock a world of possibilities.
Riffs on Riffs listeners get 30% off their first year at DistroKid by going to distrokid.com/VIP/riffsonriffs. So I was going to take my daughter Maya to Italy for her high school graduation, pandemic, whatever. So we wait a couple years and we finally get over there. So we're in Florence. And she, for whatever reason, Maya's just like walking with a purpose. And she's like several yards ahead of me, and I'm just kind of looking around at the shops. We're just down this whatever alley and just kind of roaming. And I don't know if I was looking around. No, I was walking, and this woman comes out of a shop and literally just, tiny woman, stops right in front of me and like starts looking around, to the point where, because I'm like hustling to try to catch up Maya, and I like almost like body checked this poor woman. And like I said, she was tiny. And I was like, whatever. And as I kind of did that what is pirouette. It from the Matrix, like right. Pirouette around, and I look and I'm like, who? And it takes a second, right? Because when you see somebody out in the wild.
Don't say Giada. Don't you say Giada.
No,
don't you do it. Okay.
No, it was Helena Bonham Carter. And I was like, I paused, and I was like, in my head, I was like, is that Bellatrix? Wait, what? And so then I looked, and she's just in her own world, right? Because you're in Florence, there's not a ton of people around. It's right. It's so she's just any normal human waiting or looking or whatever. And so I catch up to Maya, and I'm like, I think I almost just ran over Helena Bonham Carter. She's like, what? And she turns around. She's like, and so I literally had a brush with fame that could have ended really badly for her.
So you didn't get a chance to talk to her at all, though, did you?
I was like, what? She's just doing her thing in Florence. I think her husband or whatever came out of a shop, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be that guy. Like, what am I gonna say? Like, hey, great, So yeah, there's Helena, if you're listening to the show, I apologize. I didn't mean it. I also hope you take a little responsibility for your actions.
My God. My God. I loved her in Sweeney Todd. I think
she's a great actress.
She is, man. She is. She kills those roles, man. I like her a lot. Yeah, she's cool. Well, what a fantastic person to bump into. If you were going to bump into anyone, cool. You could do a whole lot worse.
That's right.
A whole lot worse.
Just glad I didn't squish her. That's really what it comes down to.
Here's a question for you. So with her being 23, I mean, obviously she can write about the experiences that she has. I mean, this is from Olivia's mind. We've kind of talked about how, her connection, obviously to the younger generation. Do you think there are a lot of folks around our age that, listen to her and appreciate her like we do, or not?
I hope so, and here's why. Because I think, it keeps you young. It keeps you connected to the next generations. So if you have kids, this is a way to connect, because universal language, right? The themes are something we can all relate to. So as you listen to this stuff, you're like, again, it's either bringing you back, or maybe there's even something currently you're going on to that you're like, wow, I can't believe this young person has the depth and maturity to write about this in a way that resonates with me. I think if you listen to some of the tracks, like, what is it? Expression. Is that it? It's got an 80s vibe. So if you're one of those people who's stuck in a genre or in a time warp of, I only listen to music from this era or whatever, then maybe a bridge would be find current songs that kind of evoke those eras. And so I think that's a nice connection as well. So I think if you're just an open and curious person, it's totally accessible. It's an enjoyable listen. I think there's good songwriting. So yeah, I think there's a lot of meat on the bones for people our age, or really people of any age. Like, I'd like to think, when I'm wheeled into the old folks' home, right? Well, and let's say something horrible has happened and I've got a spouse and she's passed away, and like, maybe I'm 92. Like, can I evoke some of the, Drop Dead takes on a different tone at that point. But
that it does.
but can you still have some of those same emotions no matter what? Because I do think it's such a human experience that never quite goes away if you allow it to be in existence.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it goes away either. On Fridays, they have this segment on NPR called StoryCorps, and they oftentimes, they might talk about, there's various things. They'll have two people talking about, or just remembering, something. And it might be, a lot of times they'll have couples that will kind of talk about how they met. They've been married for 50 years, or, one couple, one story in particular, this now husband and wife, they were separated for whatever period of time. And during that time they were separated, I think somebody went off to war and the other person stayed here, and they just lost track of each other because of life events. Maybe they both got married and had lives, and then both of their partners died. And now somehow, some way, they found their way back to each other. And I think that doesn't happen without the ability to recall what was there once before. And I think that, again, songs like this, they do a good job of kind of bridging that, and it's interesting, even though that she's, as young as she is, and the content of the lyrics is as high as they are, the music selection around it, the choice of, I think could be the bridge, because it doesn't sound like something that is 2026 per se. It does
Agreed.
Sound like more like 80s, 90s type vibe, maybe not 80s, but 90s type vibe or whatnot. You see what I'm saying? And maybe that is the bridge, because, folks that are a little bit older than us, I mean, they look at the 80s like that was their heyday, the 90s, that was their heyday, that kind of thing. So that's interesting.
Well, and I think you and I have talked about, like, we're not huge trap fans, right? And so there's certain genres that show up during time periods that very specifically relate to those time periods, like the sound of a decade or an era, or at least a few years. I think with what she's done with this album, it evokes some of those previous generations, but anytime you have organic, you've got piano, you've got instruments, you have like real music, for lack of a better word. I don't mean that as a pejorative. I just mean, like
Organic.
organic, then it allows it, there's a through line that makes it, I guess, a little bit more timeless, because you're not honing in on, I'm creating a sound of a specific era. I'm just creating great music. And I think both are viable and important. Because what I do like is when people create a new sound and then it becomes a thing, right? That's cool, because you've basically invented something that people are resonating with and want to replicate. But there's something to the universality of what Olivia's doing that I think makes it just accessible in the long term.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
the other question for you, Toby, what listening to this album did was make me think about songs from back in the day that kind of lyrically did the same thing, like specifically about relationships, maybe within the same. So I thought of a specific song that was an arc of how kind of a relationship goes. Those initial phases, and then the hard work, and then the, if it ends, if it doesn't end, or whatever. One of the songs that hit me a long time ago was from Big Head Todd and the Monsters, the song Bittersweet. And lyrically, that song just still gets me, because it's, I know we don't talk about it. We don't tell each other all the little things that we need. We work our way around each other as we tremble and we bleed, right? Like lyrics where you're like, that's what a relationship is. You've got that initial amazing stuff, and then eventually it's like, we're not talking about this stuff, or we're just kind of tiptoeing around each other, or we're in a lull or whatever, and we're trying to rekindle it. So that word alone, bittersweet, that's what relationships are. And so I'm just curious if you were to think of a song or two that really hit that mark for you, what would it be?
Good question. Really good question. And what I did to answer it, I went to look at soundtracks that really kind of tapped into it. But to me, it's almost like the cheat code. I mean, the soundtrack, of course, is going to be a story. They wanted to make music, curated music that specifically speaks to this situation. And of course, it speaks to a lot of other situations. But I feel like a song off an album is like a photograph, and a memory. And in this case, in a soundtrack, it's a photograph or a scene from the movie that you're kind of putting to words. So the song that I would pick is from the Boomerang soundtrack, song by PM Dawn called I Die Without You.
Oh, yeah.
That song to me is like that does it. Automatically just takes me right back there to that movie. And it's like, oh my God. And actually PM Dawn is interesting, because that is actually a group that I think, weirdly enough, would be very interesting collaboration between them and Olivia. I think that would be a very interesting and weird but cool combination, because the music choices, I mean, like, if there's anyone that's going to like sample The Cure or Depeche Mode or any of those other bands, it would be PM Dawn. They would be in that's in their wheelhouse. But a combination between those two, I think, would be kind of cool.
That's really cool. And I think Olivia, so one of the interviews I was watching with her, it was just a random 20 questions thing. And it was like, if you had 6 celebrities that you would go and have drinks with or whatever, alive or dead. She's like, I'm jet lagged. I'm off the top of my head. So she names drops JFK, because she's like, I just want to hear all the tea, Camelot and all of that. She's like, Cleopatra would be cool. And then she's like, Amelia Earhart, because like, girl, what happened? Like, what happened? And I was just like, just those 3 responses just gives you an insight into the breadth of her brain and like what she thinks about and depth and whatever. I was like, yeah. So totally a PM Dawn collaboration. I could totally see that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I think that would be a pretty cool collab. Pretty cool.
So you teed this up as a question prior. What song, this Drop Dead track, what TV show or movie would you want this on?
Yeah, if I was curating songs to kind of promote the movie, Twilight, I think, would be a very interesting way. I think Twilight would absolutely work. But there's another one that I thought would work as well. kind of talk about like teenage emotions and all of that.
Are you going to say it? I'm curious if it's the same one.
I doubt it, but I'd be very curious if it is. Enter the Spider-Verse, the Spider-Man, the animated one. I think
that is cool. One of my all-time faves. That is such a good movie. Like the animation on that is insane. The story, like, but yeah. Huh.
Yeah, I think that would be, I was watching that movie the other day. I didn't get through the whole thing because those are rather long films.
Yeah.
But they are so good. And that is a movie that transforms you back into the kid again, transports you to that time. Yeah. And yes, he's got superpowers, but we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about his relationship. Dude, say this. No, don't do that. Oh, he's so awkward. I remember being awkward. Oh my God, I hope he grows out of this. But I can't wait to see what happens next. And it's just so well done. It's just so well done. I mean, you can't watch that movie as an adult, not think about you as a clumsy teenager. You can't watch that story as a parent and not feel and want to help navigate that young guy through some of that stuff. But yeah, so that's why I think that this, again, it's a cool song. It's a fun song, definitely at the beginning of a relationship, where you're just excited to just be in the same room with this person, not to mention like right in front of them. And yes, we've all like checked out their socials, right? You find somebody interesting, it's like, let's go on to Facebook
internet
and
stalking.
Insta.
That's right.
Right. It's not, this is research. This is gathering, for adults, I guess it might be, for adults that are dating, I guess it might be LinkedIn, right? To see what things people are doing.
Do you actually have a job? Do you say stupid things? Right. So here's the other show, Tob. Dash and Lily.
Ooh.
Right?
One of my favorite holiday.
It's a yearly ritual.
Oof, I love that. Tell people about Dash and Lily in case they haven't heard. But I don't hear a lot of people talking about it.
Short. What is it? 8 episodes, not long. I mean, it's a binge thing, easily done during the holiday season. Basic premise. Lily writes in a journal, throws it in a book's The Strand in New York, actually, and and like waits for a boy to pick it up, and a boy picks it up, and they start writing back and forth, but they don't meet each other, and hijinks ensues. And there's the guy's got history with another girl, and then she ends up it's a thing. But it's light, but it's got some depth to it, and again, it's relatable. Like there's awkwardness. Like Lily is so delightfully awkward in some ways that we can all relate to. There's family generational dynamics going on. There's old people relationships that are navigating stuff, right? Like there's now that I think about it, there's a lot that's packed in there, but you don't. There's what is it? You put the medicine in with the treat, right? Like that's I think how that show kind of comes off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You bury the peas in the mashed potatoes. And
there it is. That's
under some cheese, right? So, like whatever you got to do, but
I'm still going to taste those peas, and I'm not.
You
don't
get the peas though, brother. You gonna get some greens in your life. I tell you what, you gonna get these vegetables. Yes, mom. But I think that's a good pick. I think it's a really, really good pick. Good job on that. I could totally see that. It seems like I know there's a whole art to creating music or curating music for a show. So I'm watching like older shows, like I'll binge. And if I hear like a good song, especially in dramas, I'm quick to Shazam it and be like, man, what is it? What is this? I have to know. It's good because some of that material, it isn't always the best known song. It might be like a hidden gem, like a B-side. That's one thing I love about like Stevie Wonder. Like you can listen to his albums, and there are a lot of songs that weren't made into singles that I especially love. Those. Interesting stuff. All right, speaking of artists that we listen to, I always want to challenge us to kind of introduce our listeners maybe into someone that we're listening to now that we weren't listening to before, or maybe it's just a new song by an artist that we already know that is really like almost earworm status. You can kind of, yeah. So who are you listening to now?
Oh man, who am I listening to now? Well, why don't you go first? Because I'm going to pull up my Spotify again because I had somebody and then I completely forgot already. So
yeah. So my guy, his name is Ethan French. He's from Australia. He challenged himself to do a song a day and then posted it on Instagram. And some of his all the ideas are just sketches, so he might just get through like a verse and a chorus, but he's kept it up. And I was like, man, first of all, that's a very ambitious thing. I mean, it's one thing I've made that promise, that New Year's resolution. I'm going to make a beat every week, and of course I failed that within 4 weeks. So that's over. But it's different in making it, and then there's also the next step in sharing it. Like literally playing the instruments. And so he's got a song called literally Day 56, right? That I love. I cannot get enough of. Ethan is amazing. And because of his success with this, guy's literally gone up to, I want to say from 14,000 followers up to over 600 million followers or something like that. Or 600,000 followers. And he's getting hit up by artists like John Mayer, Erykah Badu, like Justin Timberlake, and he's now, because of all of this dude's getting ready to get flown out to LA to do tracks. I mean, like, just for putting himself out there, not even a full song, just sketches. Which I love. We all have sketches. I love that. So he's the one.
Yeah, it might be the new Amy Allen, right? Like, hey, I want to work with this cat because he's writing great stuff. And man, I love that story. Kudos to him. I can't off the top of my head think of anything. I'm failing at this assignment. I know I'm going to be like, oh, as soon as we get off this episode, I'll be like, oh, I should have said this. But unfortunately, I'm using my phone to record this sorry.
Right.
So I can't pull up my Spotify account to remind me of what. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Lovers. It's all good. I mean, like you said, we'll find. That's, it's not like we're going anywhere. We'll easily, we'll record another episode.
I'll double it up next time, Toby. How about that?
That's it. So is there anything more that we wanted to say about this song, this album, outside of listening to it, if you are really interested in hearing good lyrics over good melodies? So there it
is. It's perfect. Just go listen to the album. It's a great album. And it's one of those where, again, you can just play it start to finish and enjoy the whole thing. Just be careful, because depending on which feel you want to evoke, you might want to stay on one side instead of the other.
Yeah, make your playlist accordingly, people.
That's
make
right.
your playlist accordingly. Hey, you can catch us on all the socials, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, or on YouTube. And if you like, subscribe, do all of the things, let us know how you're enjoying the episodes. And with that, we say peace and keep listening. Huzzah.